do you think we should or will have a 10+% correction by the end of the year?
I think it's certainly possible, mainly because since we've had this run up where we haven't had any dips by more than 10%, what's really been going on is there's been a trade-off in leadership where it went growth for 6 months, then value was the leader for 6 months, and then growth for 6 months. And the conditions that would lead us to, let's say, another leg of value leading for another 6 months and then keeping that average up, the broad market up, really aren't there. We don't see a big jump or a big indicator in some of the yield curves, though certainly 10-year has improved. And we don't see as many inflation fears. It seems that the market has really taken that in stride. So it is possible maybe that value will come up to play and it'll push us through another 6 months, despite any worries about economic recovery being a lot slower and more defensive stocks will keep that market going up, and up. But it is a question. And it's something that I'm looking very carefully at to see whether we'll see this leadership transition or whether we'll finally take a breather.
Would it be healthy if we did get one, Aaron? I mean, the longer we go up like this, more people tend to get nervous.
Yes, I don't know if we necessarily needed a full 10% correction, but certainly a 5 would feel really good for me. Just looking at valuations, that would bring us at least to the sort of new norm of highs. And if you do adjustments for how analysts are underestimating estimates and underestimating growth, that would bring us into a more reasonably priced area. And also just having one more quarter's worth of earnings come in, we get a little more sure about what kind of growth we're going to see particularly for 2022. I think that kind of consolidation, but not that we even have to go down, but just go sideways, would be healthy for the market as we really start to understand just how fast is this economy going to take for us to fully reopen. When are people going to go back to work? When are people going to be able to let their kids go to school? So, that 1/4 of the population with kids can go back to work. And so I see some definite risks out there for the next 3 months.
Yeah, and in the Northeast, all the kids, or not all of them, but most of them are going back to school this week. The expanded federal unemployment benefits rolled off yesterday, or Monday rather. So things could change dramatically in the next 30 to 60 days. We're going to find out. But let's talk about investing. You've talked on this program about your core investing strategy, meaning you're not going way out on the limb with super growthy or deep value stocks at 4 times earnings. You're kind of looking for that sweet spot in the middle, which is a little why I was confused, Aaron, as to why Amazon is one of your picks for us today, because I'm thinking, isn't that kind of way out on the right side of growth?
So what I'm talking about is almost doing a barbell approach where you're able to take some of your best growth, but I'd like to say definitely growth at a more reasonable price, and then some of your traditional defensives, which could be a little expensive, and ultimately you end up with a core portfolio. So just really looking at your overall portfolio, making sure that you've got exposure to both, because as we've seen, we've finished the 3rd rotation from growth to value to growth. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure if we're just going to flip straight back to value, and rather trying to make that call just right now, I'm basically playing both fields and seeing that I have my foot in both potential leadership roles, but still being concerned about price. Amazon really has been underperforming the market just up until they finally broke out in July. And so that's when I really started to look at it and say, oh, here's where we're finally coming up. And this recent dip for me is that sweet call, sort of sweet space to say, okay, it finally broke out of its trading range. This is where it's going to grow. And I see Amazon being able to grow at or above the economic recovery. So that's, yes, it is a growth at reasonable price.
And on the other side of that as well is the name that we don't talk about much, except when we talk about infrastructure. Oh, by the way, we're talking a lot about infrastructure lately, and that is a name like a Vulcan Materials. I mean, literally, you went from Amazon and all their trucks on the road to a company that helps make roads.
So here's the barbell approach, right? So this is materials. They should be doing well, whether or not we have an economic slowdown or not. One thing that isn't slowing down is construction. whether it's roads or housing, and these are the guys that sell you all the materials. So this stock has really been keeping up with the market for the past 6 months. Again, it's come down a bit, but I think this is the one that is on the more defensive side and will do well over towards the end of the year, and if not further on, as your other end of that barbell approach, and making sure that you've got exposure to both potential leadership.